JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, December 2nd, 9/17. Really quick rant, talk about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P futures. In green here, 682 on the side, 682.40. Watching that 683 handle from yesterday, that seemed like oil and vinegar kind of spot or kryptonite. Markets got up to that in the afternoon and just boom, $3 reversal into the close. Not much in the way of catalyst here today. Obviously, the backdrop of what's going on with the NVIDIA and Google, right? Now it's the back and forth there. You also have the, I guess, continued rumblings of what's going on in Japan, and that's kind of rearing its head. And the more I think about that, the more I think about this yen carry trade 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it. I think it's less of an event because it's not like it's a surprise back in 2024. It was a out of left field surprise, right? So we'll see how that plays out. And then we're starting to get some trickling of data. So yesterday was manufacturing PMI. Tomorrow, I believe it's 10 a.m. will be services PMI. And services PMI is a heck of a lot more revenue. So that may move markets just a little bit. But for now, we'll see the markets can move on their own merits, pending any crazy shenanigan headlines that may come out. 683 to 679 on the spot. That would probably be a good range here today. Hopefully, I hope between that. Don't want to see a break under 679, but I would say low probability of that happening. So I would love to see some chop here, and then maybe a break over 683 into the close would be great. Also, the yields, right? In the 10-year back higher yesterday, and I was saying on the rant yesterday afternoon, last week and this week, if you thought of some things that might cause some serious issues with the markets, NVIDIA getting destroyed would be one of them, right? And the market was up 3.75% for the S&P last week, despite NVIDIA and some of these other names getting destroyed. And then this week, now you throw in Bitcoin into this big bowl of ingredients for a possible market pullback, and the markets were kind of resilient. We were down 0.5% yesterday, and it felt like it was a victory, in my opinion, because you can make the case that there'd be some serious, especially momentum names and things like that, and that markets held up. Small caps took in on a chin, but hopefully some consolidation here today. Markets were up 5 days in a row coming into yesterday, so some profit taking not to be unexpected, and then maybe we find some footing here, and dare I say all-time highs in the coming week or two. So that's kind of overall markets. Quick on individual names. I had CAVA on the watch list yesterday morning. Some of it is kind of thank you to Wall Street Journal with that article over the weekend. And then this kind of theme that I think is going to play out over the next 6 weeks or so is these names that have oversold that are going to bounce, and then maybe some runners into the start of next year. CAVA certainly fits the bill, right? I think it's down 60% for the year. Still a great story. Back-to-back earnings quarters, big gap downs, and then finally it looks like it's bouncing. So watching at the open, I think it was like 9:30. Stocks at 49. It's kind of treading water. Do I get the weeklies? Do I get the monthlies? And then start to find some support. And I was looking at the monthlies. I'm like, the better risk reward here, inexpensive lottos for this week. And then if there is some follow through, I can go and add the monthly strikes later. Got those 53 strikes, and within 10 minutes, it's over $50. Closed them out for 100%. Kept going, closed more out for 200%. And then midday or late day was at over 52 and change. My calls are up 400%. But two reasons. One is I think it could continue to melt higher here today. That's one. And two, when I do lock them in, I want to get later strikes. So we'll see how today plays out. If there's continued strength, I might just lock the last few, or maybe just a couple more and hold the last few of the 53s and then roll out to some later strikes. Because dare I say on some of these names, some of these earnings moves, you have a gap fill. $59 was the earnings drop. And then you start looking at the other areas, and I'm not saying it's going to go and fill the gap fill from August, but there's opportunities there. So that's CAVA. CAVA, a great way to start the week. And then Reddit. If you mention a name that should have weakness yesterday with futures getting pummeled and some of these momentum names taking on the chin, Reddit would be front and center. And not only did it hold the ground, it rallied right after the open. It was 212, then 214. Next thing you know, it's over 220. Gets up to 226. I have weekly strikes. So I took some more off for over 300%. And I was thinking that I was going to get some FOMO calls. That 225 handle count is a big spot for me. And then risk reward there's tough. The 280, 290s, they're buck and change already with 2.5 weeks left to expiration. But we know how Reddit goes, right? Reddit can go on a monster rally with no analyst upgrade, no nothing, right? So we'll see how it trades here today. It's right at the highs in the pre-market, 226. I'll probably wait till I lock the last of the 235s in. Then I might get some FOMO calls, 280, 290 before the end of the year. And then that brings me to strategy, right? And strategy. I pointed out this pincher last week, got those calls, traded for 100%, and then that Friday just couldn't break through. Then reverse course lower, and now you look. Even yesterday, I'm trying to look for a bounce, and the calls on a risk reward basis just didn't like jive to me. And I was saying the same thing last Wednesday when the 185s and the stock was on 170. The 185s were like a buck and change. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I mean, Friday I did those coin lottos, and I was waiting for that to break out, and it just couldn't get over 280. But now you fast forward to today. I mean, closed at 259 yesterday. But again, similar thing. The premiums are expensive. So do I want to get some lottos on some of these names? It's funny. It just shows you I don't sit here and pretend to know strategies, financials like the back of my hand, right? I barely know how this financial mechanism works with its leverage, how it buys the Bitcoin, how it's able to make money. The whole thing just doesn't, I don't get it, right? So it doesn't mean I'm not going to trade it. And there's a lot of different, nuances with some of these companies that I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in it, right? But with strategy, it's just like people are making the case that its holdings of Bitcoin are less than its market cap now, right? And it's again, but then you look and there's the preferred side, so you don't see the preferred stock and the dividends that they have to issue on the preferred side. So people just lop in their debt with the market cap and think that the company, based on where the stock price is undervalued based on the price of Bitcoin, and it's not, right? Because so. But again, I'm not trying to. It's hard to make. That's why it's tough to look at the name and make some kind of bull or bear case, because maybe it's mispriced, but I thought the other side, I'm like, maybe it's broken, right? The thing is, you don't want to see Bitcoin get nuts, and you don't want to see strategy get to like 150 or so, because then I think it might break things, right? Especially if you're already hearing the rumors of deleveraging and you have to sell some holdings. Don't want to see that rabbit hole get entered, right? So anyway, that might rally to 190, 200 by the end of the week. I'll see if I can find some strikes. I might just sit on my hands, and there's some folks here in the chat room who have it, so I'll just root for them. I'll live vicariously through them. But take a look at coin, the 200-day moving average right there at 281. So it I mean, it's a 267 now. That could be a spot, get some follow through. All right, so that's coin. Lemonade still has a bull flag set up, so I'll continue to look for opportunities on that one to play for upside, being patient. And then just last but not least, this theme again of the last, maybe over the next 6 weeks or so, of names that have oversold into the end of the year that might be bargains, as people do hedge fund selling. Is that what I don't even know what phrase you want to coin it. Funds that are taken on the chin don't want to show that as a holding into the end of into next year, so they sell them, causes oversold conditions and names. And then on the flip side, when they're oversold, you have people who are looking for bargains. So deck, kicking myself for missing this move the last couple sessions. And some of it is because I still have scars or post-trading stress disorder from its last earnings, when they post a monster beat and a monster quarter, in my opinion, and the stock still sold off, right? And it's just frustrating. Sometimes I put on my do not trade list, but now you look and it's sitting at the 50-day moving average. I'm like, this might go to $100 in the coming weeks, and the calls look like they're not pricing in that move. And when you have a setup like that, it's like, okay, this is a possibility for some nice multi-baggers. So don't be surprised if I do some deck calls. And then my old, my favorite, I always look for positions in, down 56% year to date. RH still sitting here. Hasn't really had a monster run. I mean, it was up 2% yesterday, but it hasn't went on an epic monster 3-4 day rally. And when it does, it'll be 160 today. It'll be 220 in after it's done. So don't be surprised if I try some lottos. The thing with RH, it's hard to do lottos, and the premiums are expensive. Anyway, let's have a great day, folks. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.